Hey friends, Burkus here. Welcome back to the Daily Burk. And today we are talking about networking for sales reps. Networking specifically, how do we apply the lessons from my book, Friend of a Friend, to someone who's in the world of selling. Now, one of the things that happened right when Friend of a Friend came out is I think a lot of people perceived it as a job hunting book, which is great. I mean, you got to sell yourself. But there's a lot of other lessons there. Primary one being that these networking events, these meetups, these groups where you show up and there's other business owners or sales reps there and you're supposed to trade leads for each other and that sort of thing. Well, A, they don't work all that well for the majority of people in the room. And B, that same majority of the people in the room end up feeling dirty at the end of it. There are better ways to find potential prospects and clients, ones that respect how networks actually work. You know, one of the things that I advise a lot of people to do when they're looking to make new connections is explore the fringes of their network. I'll use the question often, who do you know in blank? Be asking your current contacts, who do you know in blank, etc. Now, the problem with this as it pertains specifically to sales is that often what we have to sell, people don't know that they need, right? I mean, sometimes, you might be able to say, who do you know that's looking for a car? And you'll get a couple names. But if you can do a little bit of a twist on that, and if you can identify what life stage, what problem, what frustration, what thing are people likely to share about themselves to their friends that is actually going to be a trigger for their buying cycle that you want to be able to meet them before they enter into. So for example, on the car thing, you don't want to say, who do you know that's looking for a car? What you may want to do is identify a few different stages where people change their method of transportation, right? So who do you know that's expecting a child? Because when you have that first child, suddenly that little sports car isn't going to work that much anymore. They might be looking for a minivan, an SUV. Might be second child, whatever it is. Who do you know that's an empty nester? Because then they might be looking to offload the SUV and get in to the sports car, right? I mean, the same who do you know that's recently had a child could work in other areas too, right? If you sell life insurance, that's something that usually people only trigger and realize that they need when they buy a house or get married or have a child or do whichever one of those three comes last, right? And so if you can identify those life stages, those things that put people into the buying cycle, then you can ask that question because people are much more likely to be able to tell you friends of theirs that are facing that exact problem. I'm expecting a child and right now I just have a Honda Civic, right? Those people are gonna be far more common in the minds of your existing connections if you ask it that way. It's still that fringes of the network, who do you know in blank question that we've talked about often on this show, but it takes a little bit differently because it's not who's in blank, it's who's at this stage in their life. If you can identify that, what is that thing that begins that cycle for you, then the same rules of networking apply. You can skip all of those networking meetings, be asking this question often of the people that you know and the people that you're introduced to, and you can serve your network by solving the problem in that life stage much more frequently and make some sales while you're at it. Thanks so much for watching this episode of the Daily Burk. Leave a comment below. Let me know what other questions specifically about how networks work in the context of selling that you have, because this is an area that I want to explore a bit more for you. And while you're leaving that comment, make sure you are followed or subscribed to the show. We're posting new episodes every single weekday. You know that, but I want to make sure that you don't miss a single one. So make sure you click that follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're watching this on. Thank you again so much for watching the Daily Burk.